Let's get real for a minute. An EMP isn't some far-fetched sci-fi movie plot anymore. It's a very tangible threat. A silent weapon that can cripple modern society in an instant. Picture this: a single, high-altitude nuclear detonation. Or, perhaps even more likely, a once-in-a-century solar flare, the kind that spews a massive coronal mass ejection right at us. Either one can dump enough raw voltage into our intricate electrical grid to utterly fry transformers and every single circuit board that's plugged in, or even just connected. We've seen glimpses of this vulnerability before. Remember the 1989 Quebec blackout? That wasn't a bomb, it was a geomagnetic storm, a relatively mild solar event that brought down an entire power grid for 9 hours. Imagine that, but on a global scale, and far more destructive. A 2018 congressional report didn't mince words. A deliberate EMP attack could plunge the United States into darkness for months, maybe even years. When that happens, think about it. No ATM will dispense cash, no gas pump will fuel your car, no grocery scanner will ring up your purchases. Your credit cards? Just expensive plastic souvenirs. And that smart fridge that orders your groceries? It'll become a very, very expensive paperweight, slowly spoiling whatever's inside. The sheer scale of disruption would be staggering. Transportation, communication, finance, sanitation, food supply, all would grind to a halt. Number 1. Washboard. The washboard. Okay, I can almost hear the chuckles. A washboard? That's so hillbilly. And you know what? It absolutely looks that way. Until you truly grasp its profound importance in a long-term grid-down scenario. Then, you realize that clean socks become your new currency, your new gold standard for health and comfort. Let's break it down. A $10 tin washboard, paired with a sturdy 5-gallon bucket, equals a human-powered washing machine. No electricity, no complex parts, just simple physics and a little elbow grease. Why is this so critical? Because in a survival situation, hygiene isn't a luxury, it's a matter of life and death. Clean clothes prevent a whole host of debilitating conditions: trench foot, which plagued soldiers in the trenches of WWI and can lead to amputation; diaper rash, which can quickly become infected and dangerous for infants; and the kind of bacterial infections that killed more soldiers in World War I than bullets ever did. When you're living without modern sanitation, even a small cut or abrasion can become a life-threatening infection if your clothes are constantly dirty and rubbing against your skin. The washboard allows you to keep your clothing clean, thereby dramatically reducing your risk of illness and infection. After you've washed your clothes, don't forget the sun. Hang the rinse water in direct sunlight. The UV rays will finish what the soap started, acting as a natural sanitizer and helping to kill any lingering bacteria. It's a simple, cheap, and profoundly effective tool for maintaining health and dignity when modern conveniences are gone. Number 2. Box of Strike Anywhere matches. Sliding into the second spot is the often forgotten red top match, a true relic from an era before disposable lighters and fancy piezo igniters. A 300-count box will set you back about $3, and these little wonders are surprisingly robust. They'll even light when wet if you take the simple step of waxing the heads for waterproofing. Why is fire so crucial? It's fundamental. Fire gives you hot food, which can be a massive morale booster. It purifies water, making it drinkable and safe. It provides warmth, essential for fending off hypothermia. And let's not forget the psychological impact. A flickering flame in the absolute darkness can do wonders for your spirits. Modern butane lighters and those clicky piezo igniters, they both fail after an EMP because of the tiny crystal inside them that generates the spark. A Strike Anywhere match? It just needs friction. For long-term storage, here's a trick. Vacuum seal half the box in a mason jar. This keeps moisture out and preserves their potency. Stash the rest in 3 separate zipper bags, spread out in different locations. Why rotate? Because the phosphorus tip can degrade with humidity over time. Plan to refresh your supply every 2 years or so. And yes, you can still find these in most supermarkets. Just make sure you look for Strike Anywhere on the label, not safety matches, which only light on their specific box. If, for some reason, you absolutely can't find Strike Anywhere matches, a cheap ferro rod fire steel is a fantastic alternative. It generates sparks by scraping a metal rod against a hardened steel striker. It's incredibly durable and works even when wet. However, matches are truly idiot-proof. Anyone can light one. Plus, in a post-collapse world, individual bundles of matches could become a valuable bartering item, a small, easily divisible form of currency for other essential supplies. Don't underestimate the power of a simple spark. Number 3. White paraffin candles. Coming in at number 3, plain white emergency candles. You can snag a pack of 10 for $6 at pretty much any big box store like Walmart. These aren't just decorative, they're workhorses. Each one can burn for 5 to 7 hours, providing a steady, reliable light source. No batteries to replace, no switches to break, no inverters required. After an EMP, nights will get pitch black, and they'll get there fast. All your battery-powered lights will eventually drain, and generator fuel will run out sooner than you think. One simple candle can transform a room from a hazardous, disorienting space into something livable, even comforting. Here's how to maximize their utility. Stick them inside mason jars. This not only protects the flame from drafts, making them last longer, but also acts as a safety measure, containing any melted wax. It can also nearly double their burn time by creating a micro-environment that slows down consumption. Store them flat in a cool, dark drawer or cabinet to prevent them from warping or melting prematurely. Think about real-world scenarios. Folks in Puerto Rico, after Hurricane Maria decimated their power grid, relied heavily on candles for months. The soft, ambient glow saves your precious flashlight batteries for tasks that genuinely need those intense lumens: navigating outdoors, inspecting things up close, or emergency repairs. Want to stretch that light even further? Combine a candle with a cheap wall mirror. The mirror will reflect and amplify the light, turning a single candle's flame into a dinner plate-sized pool of visibility. Bonus tip: melted paraffin wax is a fantastic fire extender and can even be used as a waterproofing agent for cordage or other materials. It's a simple, ancient technology that still holds immense value. Number 4. Faraday trash can. Alright, so let's talk about item number 4, a galvanized trash can with a tight-fitting lid. This, my friends, is what we preppers affectionately call a poor man's Faraday cage. You can pick one up for about $30 at any hardware store. Now, a Faraday cage isn't some mystical device. It's simply an enclosure that blocks electromagnetic fields. And while a galvanized trash can isn't perfect, it's a darn good start for basic protection. Here's how you make it work. Line the inside of the trash can completely with cardboard. Why cardboard? Because you absolutely do not want your precious electronics touching the metal walls of the can. The cardboard acts as an insulating barrier. Once it's lined, what do you toss in there? Think about critical communication and information devices. A spare 2-meter ham radio, for example, which can communicate over long distances when cell towers are dead. A small solar charger for those devices. And yes, that old flip phone you swear you'll never use again. Why a flip phone? Because older, simpler phones often have fewer sensitive integrated circuits and might be more resilient, or at least worth protecting as a backup. The idea here is simple. If the grid ever snaps back, even partially, you'll be the only house on the block coordinating cleanup crews, receiving vital information, or contacting loved ones while everyone else stares at blank screens, wondering what happened and what to do next. It's about having options, having a lifeline, when everyone else is cut off. This cheap, simple setup can protect your most vital electronics from the devastating effects of an EMP, giving you a massive advantage in a post-event world. It's a small investment with potentially huge returns. Number 5. Cast iron skillet. In 5th place, we have the 10-inch cast iron skillet. You can often find these used for $15, and they literally last for centuries if cared for properly. After an EMP, your electric stove is toast, but wood fires, charcoal briquettes, or a simple rocket stove, they'll still get ripping hot, and that's where cast iron shines. It tolerates the intense, uneven heat of an open flame and direct coals that would warp and ruin thin aluminum pans. Eggs, bread, stews, even coffee, all possible with this one versatile piece of cookware. The key to its longevity and performance is seasoning. Season it now with flax oil or another high smoke point oil, so food doesn't stick when soap and clean water might be scarce. The process isn't complicated. Rub with oil, bake it, let it cool, and repeat a few times. The more you cook with it, the better the seasoning becomes, creating a natural non-stick surface. Yes, the weight is the primary downside. It's a hefty piece of gear. But its versatility is unmatched. Flip it upside down over a fire, and you've got an instant griddle for flatbreads or tortillas. Hang it by the handle with baling wire over a fire, and you've got an improvised oven for baking. If you can only grab one cooking vessel, grab cast iron. Everything else either melts, burns, or breaks down under the harsh conditions of off-grid cooking. It's a connection to a simpler time, when meals were cooked over an open flame, and it'll serve you just as well in a future where modern conveniences are a luxury. Number 6. Claw hammer with solid handle. Sixth on our essential list is the 16-ounce curved claw hammer. This isn't just for hanging pictures, it's a multi-tool masquerading as a simple implement, available for $10 at any hardware store. In a grid-down world, a hammer is a pry bar, a nail puller, a surprisingly effective self-defense tool, and even a nutcracker, all rolled into one. You'll find yourself needing to board up windows for security, fix a leaky roof, or scavenge lumber from abandoned structures for fuel or repairs. A solid fiberglass or hickory handle is paramount here. Avoid those hollow tubular ones often found in discount combo kits, as they snap under real stress. Choose a smooth face on the hammerhead. Milled heads look like they offer better grip, but they'll shred your pockets or pack when you try to carry them. Pair this with a coffee can full of 8-penny nails, and you can frame a makeshift shelter or secure an entry point far faster and more effectively than relying on duct tape and tarps alone. Need to process kindling or break down smaller pieces of wood? Sharpen one claw edge with a file, and you've got a makeshift axe, capable of splitting smaller logs or preparing firewood. Zero electronics, virtually zero maintenance, and infinite uses. It's a primal tool for a primal time, connecting you directly to the ability to build, repair, and protect. Number 7. Cotton clothesline rope. Seventh up is 100 feet of plain cotton clothesline. This will cost you about $8 and is a far more versatile choice for survival than many people realize. While modern nylon and paracord are certainly strong, cotton has some unique advantages in a long-term, low-tech scenario. It readily accepts knots that hold tight, it burns reliably when you need it to for signaling or fire starting, and crucially, it won't melt into a gooey, noxious mess near coals or an open flame. Think about its applications. Stringing a ridgeline to dry clothes after a rainstorm, essential for hygiene and warmth. Hoisting food out of reach of critters and scavengers, protecting your precious supplies. Lashing poles together to create a debris shelter or an improvised lean-to. Need something stronger? Braid 3 lines of clothesline together, and you've got an emergency tow rope strong enough to drag a bicycle across a washed-out path or pull a heavy load. Cotton also has a unique property. It readily soaks in oil or other flammable liquids, transforming into an instant slow-burning torch for night signals or extended illumination. Store it loose in a paper bag or breathable container to prevent moisture from mildewing the fibers. Old-school sailors relied on manila rope for its natural properties. Cotton clothesline is the closest cheap, readily available analog you'll find in any big box store. It's a simple material, but its utility in tying, lifting, securing, and even signaling makes it incredibly valuable. Number 8. First aid triangular bandages. The 8th item on our list is a 12-pack of cotton triangular bandages, which you can find online for about $10. These are often overlooked in favor of adhesive bandages, but their versatility in a medical emergency is unparalleled. Each piece is roughly a 40-inch square of breathable cotton folded into a triangle, and it can perform a multitude of functions. They work as effective slings for injured arms, providing support and immobilization. They can be fashioned into tourniquet covers in severe bleeding situations, though proper tourniquet application is vital first. Folded into a cravat, they can secure splints or dressings. Need to improvise? They can be used as makeshift water filters, though not for purification, pot holders for handling hot items, dust masks to protect from airborne particles, or even emergency diaper pins in a pinch. No electronics, no expiry date beyond the natural degradation of the cotton itself. For optimal preparedness, vacuum seal half of them to keep out moisture, dust, and critters, preserving their sterility for as long as possible. Leave the rest in their original paper packaging for quick, easy access. Pair these with a $5 roll of vet wrap, a self-adhesive bandage that sticks to itself, not skin. And you can stabilize a sprain or secure a dressing far more effectively than with unruly medical tape. After an EMP, hospitals will be overwhelmed or non-functional, and ambulances won't be rolling. Simple wounds or minor injuries can quickly turn septic without proper care. Clean, breathable cotton buys you precious time until real medical help, if it ever comes, can arrive. These aren't just bandages, they're a versatile medical multi-tool. Number 9. Bars soap and paper wraps. Ninth on our list, a bulk pack of plain bar soap. Think 3-ounce bars, 20 for $9 at a membership club or bulk retailer. This might seem mundane, but let me tell you, sanitation kills more germs than antibiotics ever could. When water systems inevitably fail, and clean running water becomes a luxury of the past, a simple bar of soap and even a small amount of standing water can be the difference between health and widespread dysentery. Paper-wrapped bars are ideal because they last for decades if stored dry and cool. Ditch the fancy pump bottles of liquid soap. They clog, the plastic degrades, and they create more waste. Bar soap is robust. Here's a clever hack. Cut each bar into thirds with a kitchen knife. This triples your individual units and significantly boosts your trade value. Bar soap is universal currency in refugee camps and disaster zones for a reason it's always needed. Beyond hygiene, bar soap has some surprising secondary uses. It can lubricate stuck zippers, a small but significant frustration in a survival scenario. You can use it to mark trail blazes on trees or rocks, leaving a temporary, biodegradable path. And in a pinch, unscented soap can even soothe bug bites when you're out of cortisone cream. Just remember to grab unscented varieties. Those fragrance oils, while pleasant, can attract insects. A good rule of thumb? 1 bar per person per month is a safe allocation when laundry machines are history and personal hygiene becomes a daily battle against illness. Number 10. Hand sewing needles with heavy thread. And finally, rounding out our top 10, we have a pack of sturdy hand sewing needles combined with a spool of waxed dental floss. This essential duo will cost you under $5 total. Why is this so critical? Because clothing, tarps, tents, backpacks, and even shoes, they all rip, tear, or fall apart at the absolute worst possible moment. That humble dental floss? It's typically 25-pound test strength, waxed against rot and mildew, and often half the price of specialized outdoor or heavy-duty thread. It's incredibly strong for its diameter. The needles, combined with this robust thread, become invaluable for repairing gear, extending its lifespan, and maintaining critical items like shelter and clothing. But their utility doesn't stop there. Needles can also be used to drain blisters, a common and debilitating problem when you're on the move. In a dire emergency, if properly sterilized with alcohol or flame, they can even be used to suture skin, though this should only be attempted as a last resort and with extreme caution. To keep those tiny needles from vanishing into the carpet vortex or the bottom of your pack, store them stuck into a cork or a small piece of felt. And that dental floss? Loop a length through a button or a small piece of metal, and you've got an instant fishing lure or a trigger for a small snare trap. Historically, tailors and seamstresses often earned more than bankers because the ability to create and repair textiles was fundamental to civilization. After an EMP, the ability to stitch a torn boot, patch a leaky tarp, or mend a jacket doesn't just save you money, it keeps you employed in a bartering sense and sheltered. This tiny, inexpensive kit holds immense power for self-sufficiency. When the grid evaporates, when the digital world goes dark, value flips upside down in an instant. That crisp $20 bill in your wallet won't buy you a sandwich, but a simple bar of soap? That might just buy you two, or a favor, or a critical piece of information. The shiny high-tech gadgets you relied on become instant landfill, but the simple analog tools you probably ignored become treasure. So, here's my final urgent advice. Grab these 10 cheap household items now. While they still cost pocket change, they still sit forgotten on dollar store shelves, readily available for anyone with a few spare bucks. Buy them, store them away, and then, honestly, forget about them for a while. But sleep better knowing that if the sky ever flashes white, if the world ever goes silent, you'll still be able to open cans, see in the dark, cook a hot meal, stitch your clothes, and ride to safety or to help. If this video has saved you money, reduced your stress, or just given you something practical to think about, please hit that like button. Share it with that friend who still thinks EMPs are just science fiction. And most importantly, subscribe to this channel for more no-fluff, practical preparedness tips every single week. Stay safe out there, stay ready, and I'll catch you in the next one.